Hey, this is B from Kongs R Us, and today we're going to do an in-depth review of Arcade1Up's Time Crisis cabinet. Now, I've been talking about this cabinet's release for months, if not over the last year, when it was going to be leaked and revealed. And this cabinet ultimately was sent to me for free from Arcade1Up for purposes of this review. Because I have a lot of experience with the original Namco Time Crisis guns and pedals, I've made my own point-blank cabinet, so I have a lot of thoughts about this I want to share with the community. So first off, I think I wanted to wait until I had all the information for this product, and the price point I think is the most dominating thing people are talking about. Is this worth $749? And what I'd like to do is hopefully just share all the information that I have about this cabinet, share my opinions, and then I'll go over if I think it's worth it or not. Ultimately, that's going to be up to you and your wallet if you want to spend that much money, or perhaps wait for a sale that might happen in the future for cabinets like this. So let's get into it. So let's take a look at an original Time Crisis arcade cabinet. This was done by the Games Company, and this was a unique light gun shooter that came out in 1995 and changed the light gun industry in my opinion. It came with a pedal and a unique recoil feature and just some amazing gameplay and graphics. I remember stepping into that game, ducking and reloading for the first time and shooting these enemies. It was unique, it was different, it felt modern, and I could like hide and actually feel like I was in a shooting game instead of just blindly shooting things. This was such a fun, unique experience. This ran on System 22 hardware. A couple of other great games also ran on that hardware too, Ridge Racer, which you've played. But this was such a fun game to play in the 90s, and it really set the tone. And let's check out Arcade1Up's version of this. They've recreated their own version of Time Crisis in 3/4 scale. It's a deluxe version without a riser here. You can see the 4 games that are included. But let's see a little bit more about what they did with the mechanical recoil feature, because that is probably the most unique thing about this cabinet and these guns, is how they implemented that. So let's take a closer look at that. Now let's take a closer look inside of this replica Namco gun. First off, the gun itself does look really close to the original gun itself. Taking off all the screws here, you can see the top half of the slider reveals a spring which provides extra tension for the recoil mech, and the trigger actually just pulls back this plastic part against this piece here, pulling back the recoil and then making it spring back in place. So that's it. There's no actual solenoid inside, just a plastic part that's moved by several gears inside of this portion here. So removing this section of the gun, you can see all the mechanical pieces. This trigger moves those 2 gears here with this plastic piece, so you'll see that pulling it back there, and that's how the recoil works. Other things inside of the gun, just first off, the Sinnen tech is pretty standard in terms of what we saw in T2 and Big Buck Hunter, so no surprises here to the camera section of it. You do see the button switch on the inside here, so pushing the button on the side kind of uses this mechanism to press the micro switch in. Just about the micro switches themselves, I do like that they use clicking micro switches here for that extra clicking feedback. On both T2 and Big Buck, these were mods I did on my guns to make that improvement on a clicking sound. I just prefer knowing when I've clicked the micro switch on a gun game, so I do prefer that. Here you can see the gears are just plain plastic here, as well as this piece. There is already a little bit of wear on this plastic part, so there is potential for a eventual breakdown and wear, so definitely something to consider. I did see some comments potentially about adding some lithium grease in here to just help lubricate this area for longevity, but you can see here there's also a locking mechanism. When you pull this back and you press the button down, this will lock the gun trigger in place so that you don't have to move anything up, and there goes the trigger. And then this is also a nice weighted piece of metal inside of here, so they did weigh the gun stock, which is nice. I've added some weights to my previous gun cabs as well. One of the other last things you can do potentially is, this is how far the trigger travels to be able to press the spring back. I discovered if you just move this over one little sprocket and essentially start the trigger here, it will travel less to be able to still manually have that recoil feature. So this is a quick and easy mod that I might recommend for folks for performance ability. This is the stock sprocket. If you just move it over one, it'll just reduce the length of travel needed to press it and might save your finger from getting sore over time. So that's a quick mod that you can do. So let's put it back together and see how it sounds. Now that we've reassembled everything and put the screws back in, you can see that the trigger starts a little bit further back, reducing the travel it takes to initiate the recoil. So in my opinion, this feels much better in hand. The reason being is that maybe it's not as loud on the top for the sliding recoil, but you still get the mechanical, sliding action, but you have to travel less and it's easier to initiate this. Let's compare that with the stock gun here. You have it all the way full strength and you have to start pressing it and pulling it back and see how far it has to travel before you initiate the recoil. Doing this over and over again would definitely tire out your fingers. This allows you to press it a little bit more naturally with ease, and so when you're playing quick fire games, this is gonna help out the longevity. So I highly recommend doing this quick mod to move that sprocket over on the gear, just one gear over to reduce the length of travel it takes to initiate versus a stock one which is fully out there. Hopefully that makes sense, and then when you get these in hands, it's gonna make a huge difference in terms of gameplay performance. Let's start off by talking about the cabinet design and shape. First off, this marquee is something that we've not seen before in an Arcade1Up cabinet. This is a huge custom box here with a printed marquee plastic part that goes down here into this curved section here. So it's nicely evenly lit from a light on the inside of this. There's very crisp art that you can see here. So the marquee, in my opinion, is really nice and vibrant. Well done on the marquee. I'm glad that they actually made this one solid piece. So this is something that we've not seen before. On the preview, there was a Namco logo here. So that's potentially a mod that somebody could put a Namco sticker right here. But otherwise, this part does light up in the light as well. The rest of the cabinet, you can see the speakers have this yellow plastic portion for the speaker grill covers, so I've not seen that. That's nice that it's molded in color as well. And then getting to the shape of the design of the cabinet, this is the Deluxe cabinet, one solid piece. So you have the artwork there on the side with the screw cap covers, the Time Crisis logo, System Super 22, breathtaking graphics and long-lasting thrills. You can see this is where the seam is for the Deluxe panel. There's no riser on this particular cabinet. Down to the front, you can see the Step On It logo with the pedal. Again, there's a section down here for you to pull out the pedal, and this can extend probably about 4 to 6 feet in terms of the length of the cable, and this also tucks in. If you don't want it sticking out, you can actually tuck this in completely, and you can have it hiding there as well. So if you don't want it sticking out, there are 2 little screws here that on carpet, they kind of do get pushed out a little bit, so you might want to be careful there. One of my cons that I do have about this cabinet is that the front coin door, in my opinion, is too low. This is a nice logo here for the Time Crisis, but I would have loved to have seen this coin door risen to the area where this logo is. If I put my foot right here, it's kind of like by my shins, and it's really low compared to, say my other cabinets when I have it side by side next to these other cabinets that would have a riser. Imagine if a riser was right here. This would be right in the middle of that. So I don't think this has an issue with where the bar is across. I think they could have risen this, so I hope they fix this for future Deluxe cabinets. I think the coin door is too low on this cabinet as well. The next feature that's pretty new to this whole cabinet design is this control panel section. So this is kind of one new full piece here that kind of attaches on the inside of the cabinet and juts out. This is replicating the original Time Crisis 1 cabinet design. Even though that cabinet design was a 1-gun shooter, there was like this little U-shaped divot in between. They did make this a 2-gun cabinet for the other games besides Time Crisis, but the rest of the control panel is pretty plain. Just a red section here for artwork, nothing else sticking out right there because it's replicating that initial jut out section. I do like the art here for this little section here with instructions for the original Time Crisis game here. So really nice replica, high quality graphics in my opinion. It's a little bit scratch resistant. We'll see how it does in public in a few days once it gets out there. The bezel, very, very clean. It's just black here. And I know that the sin-in border does bother some people. So sin-in borders I'll talk about in just a little bit, but the graphics again, pretty clean. So if that's something that somebody wanted to mod and put a secondary, like maybe bigger monitor, that might be an easy swap out. But that's it for the cabinet design and art. Overall, it is super tall, about 70 inches. It's one of the largest Arcade1Up titles there. I believe it is the largest besides Big Blue. So you can see my Big Blue in the corner right over there. It does stand just a few inches taller than Big Blue. And this is where the monitor sits. So hopefully you guys can see that. So one of the main concerns about the Time Crisis cabinet has been this screen size. This is your standard 17-inch BOE monitor that is in a lot of different Arcade1Up cabinets. So you have an IPS screen, yes, but because of the sin-in border, which is about 1/4 of an inch thick, you lose 1/2 inch of screen real estate for about 16.5 inches of playable real estate on the cabinet there. You can still play and navigate the menu using the gun system here. So the gun system, let's just go through the different games lists that you can see here. So again, Time Crisis, Steel Gunner 2, as well as Point Blank. I have logged into the Wi-Fi, so there are high score leaderboards. Let's take a look at the leaderboards. For Time Crisis, you have Story Fastest Time mode. You can also get into, let's see, Story Damage, Time Attack Stage 1, Time Attack Stage 2, 3, Story Fastest Time. So that's Story Accuracy. These are the different high score levels that you can play through. Let's check the other scores for Steel Gunner. You have total scores for Steel Gunner 1 and 2. This is a little bit cheesy because you can keep just coining in and pretty much play the game all the way through and keep getting a high score. So this one, I would have loved to have seen like a 1/4 challenge or something like that to that effect, but I guess it's sort of replicating the arcade experience. And Point Blank, you have total scores for easy, total scores for expert, total scores for very hard, and an easy total score, expert total score. So you have 3 different leaderboards: easy, expert, and very hard total score. So those are the leaderboards that you can play online. Let's take a look at the options for Time Crisis. You have network settings, restore factory settings, menu effect sounds, background music, checking for updates, gun calibration. So we'll get into the gun calibration in just a bit. Let's see if there's any other options here for here. Looks like all the same different options for Steel Gunner games, and as well as Point Blank. Pretty much the same different settings for all of these things. Let's check the gun calibration menu so you can see what happens here. So in the gun calibration menu, you do have to press and hold the trigger button and the side button together for 3 seconds. So once you do that, it's going to move the cursor to the center of the screen. And then from there, I'm going to aim, check my sight, and shoot right at the screen. So from here, I know this is at a different off angle. If I do this from straight on, I can now see that the gun has been calibrated. I do want to talk about the drag that you see on the screen. So the screen drag that you see for the cursor, I've been told that this is on purpose, that on the menu screens, the drag for the cursor is evident, so it makes it smoother for you to type in things like your email address and actually navigate the menu. As you can tell on the main menu screen here, it's kind of hard to aim and then shoot at that little cursor right there. So having it a little bit slower dragged across the screen lets you shoot and get to that little point a little bit more accurately. So there has been menu drag on here. I would also say there is some visible drag on games that have a cursor on the screen. So Steel Gunner 1 and 2, I'll show you some quick gameplay in just a little bit, does have a cursor on the screen, which does have a little bit of cursor drag on it. But for games like Time Crisis and Point Blank, there's no cursor on the screen, and the Sin and Light Gun is pretty accurate, moving from space to space really quickly without any cursor drag or performance issues. So that is something that I visibly noticed. I'm hoping Arcade1Up can put some information on the calibration menu that mentions that cursor drag reasoning so that people don't anticipate that this is an issue within the game. But that is something I wanted to bring up here in the menu system and calibrating the game. And before I show you some of the gameplay of Steel Gunner, I did want to just mention that I am noticing a little bit of stutter for the cursor on the screen. If I'm moving it quickly enough, you can see that the cursor is actually kind of stuttering and getting stuck a little bit. So I don't know if this is an issue with the PCB either overheating or if there's some other issue that is preventing the camera from tracking that well. But it is a little bit of a concern that I can see some of that visible stutter when I'm moving across the screen. It doesn't seem to happen in game, but in menu when I'm trying to navigate, I'm trying to get to a spot and I'm quickly moving. I'm not sure if that's something they can optimize in a future update. I would highly recommend the Arcade1Up QA team or so take a look at that to see, because there is some stutter here as I'm moving across the screen. So something to think about. But let's check out some of the cursor gameplay for Steel Gunner. Alright, so here's Steel Gunner 1. As you can see, the cursor is lined up and I'm shooting, and as I'm moving across the screen, you can still see that there is a little bit of that cursor drag happening on the screen as well. So let me see if I can line it up so you can kind of see it. It's just moving slightly behind. I think for games like this where you're continuously holding down the button for shooting and then you're moving the cursor, this cursor drag was really evident as well on T2. I'll show a quick video here side by side that you can see that the cursor drag existed here too. I'm not sure why people didn't mention if this was an issue or not, but I think it is something to think about in terms of the performance. You only see it when the smoothing effect cursor is on the screen. It doesn't impact Time Crisis or Point Blank as far as I'm concerned, but I did want to mention that it is something visible that I've seen. You can see the cursor again dragging behind the screen. So something to take a look at for any time there's a cursor on the screen for this. My Gun for AR and the Sinden guns that I have also don't have that much cursor lag when I play it on my PC, so that's something to keep an eye out for. All right, here's some full gameplay of Time Crisis 1 right now. So we're gonna do the story game mode here, so you can see how accurate it is. You can see the pedal that I'm stepping on right here. I'm gonna try to do some gameplay of stage 1. So again, the game plays pretty decently. This is the full-on recoil mode that I'm gonna be doing here. Stepping on the pedal, shooting the characters are the bad guys. Pretty accurate. There's no cursor on the screen for Time Crisis 1. So this is pretty accurate to the arcade in terms of that experience, right? That you can play this, not have a cursor on the screen. I know main versions of the game will have a cursor, you can turn that off. But I kind of like having that real original feel of the arcade where, yeah, you are trying to be as accurate as you can. You can see me stepping on the pedal here. And yeah, that's one of the options you can use for the pedal. The other option too is you can hold down this button on the side. You press the button, it can be another way for you to initiate that standing up feature and hiding feature. So you can have that button or the pedal that you're using. But obviously Time Crisis is much more known for using that pedal. So stepping on the pedal, shooting, you're getting some nice feedback from that pedal. It can take a lot of weight, I feel like. Accuracy in the game, I do feel that the accuracy of the game is pretty good for Sinden Tech. Sinden is known for being really accurate, just like Gunfire AR. The only differences between the two are the borders. So you do lose that half-inch of border screen real estate due to the white border. A thing like Gunfire AR, which I'll do some gameplay afterwards, does not have that border. So that's one of the benefits of that. But otherwise, in terms of performance and emulation, this is I would say, a decently more easier game to emulate. It's using the System 22 hardware, which is the same as the Ridge Racer game. So if you really enjoyed Ridge Racer and you played that yourself, the emulation is on par, if not just as good. I don't see any stuttering. I'm not that familiar with the original hardware of the arcade, but not seeing any freezing in the gameplay. Accuracy, again, as I mentioned, is pretty good. I know some people in the original gameplay video that I posted had mentioned that there might be an audio lag from the recoil to the time where you see the bullet on the screen. I honestly think that's because of the manual recoil feature, that the recoil gets triggered before the micro switch is fully pressed. So that might be one of the reasons you could see or hear some audio delay. But for me, it's pretty close from the time that I'm pressing the trigger and when I see it on the screen. Again, that's what I'm talking about, is when you press this, you kind of see that trigger pull back before I finish my micro switch button. So let's just finish off stage 1. So you can see some of that gameplay. Pretty dang fun in my opinion still. It's one of those classic arcade games. The trigger is already starting to feel, no more lives, gotta continue. Okay. Trigger is starting to feel a little bit tiring already. So, one of the options you can play is if this does get tiring even in the middle of a stage, you have the ability to turn off the recoil, especially when I'm fighting this freaking helicopter there. So here I am going to click this button, push it back, and now I'm going to shoot a little bit quicker now, because now I don't have the recoil feature. So locking it allows you to shoot much faster. So if you're into performance and trying to just shoot as quickly as possible, then yeah, I would recommend maybe turning off the recoil if you just want to go for time mode and just try to play as fast as possible. And original, I would say other light gun games like Area 51 and Lethal Enforcers, those games used Suzo half guns, which didn't have the recoil feature. That's what made Time Crisis so nice, was that recoil feature. But yeah, if you're playing for performance and you're getting tired of that manual recoil, you could turn it on. In the middle of it, you can always switch it back off, get back to recoil mode. So yeah, if it is tiring, I do recommend possibly doing that trigger mod that I mentioned earlier when I broke down the screen video. It just makes it that much easier to press down the trigger button. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is like still as much as possible keep the solenoid feedback while making it easier to play. That would be the most ideal scenario. So yeah, just think about making it a little bit easier to pull back. And I did it with the Player 2 gun, so I'm still playing with the player gun that I have not done that mod yet. But there's area 3 clear. Let's see if we can finish out the game. All right, going to fast forward. Here's the boss area. Okay, here we go. Shooting. I feel like I need to be pretty accurate with this one, so I might turn off recoil. Let's turn off recoil. See if I can just shoot guys. Oh no, oh man, I'm bad. All right. All right. Oh, boom. All right. So yeah, if you're playing for performance, you might want to turn off the recoil. Just something to help out with it because you can pull the screen a lot faster. So yeah, that's stage one of Time Crisis. All right, here's gameplay of Steel Gunner 2. This is just one of those rail shooter games originally that was mounted and would have feedback. So you do have to press the button and hold it down to shoot your continuous machine gun. And unfortunately, there is no, feedback for this game. So it is a little bit, I would say, not as exciting as maybe when you're playing T2. You can feel that solenoid force feedback in there. But it is a fun game to kind of shoot through. I think people would enjoy playing this at least once. It is another gun to play on the cabinet. You don't have to continuously fire. You do have this button here for shooting your missiles as well. And I believe, let's try pressing the pedal button. Okay, so the pedal button does not act as a missile button. I was hoping that the pedal would actually do something in this game too, like be that secondary button. But it looks like the pedal does not work in Steel Gunner games, but press the button and you shoot the missile. So you have that extra missile there for, don't shoot the civilians. But those are the button functionality for these particular games. So decent game to play. I think it's the graphically, it's kind of the classic cartoony style game that you would see from the early 90s. Can't remember exactly when this game came out, but this is the sequel, Steel Gunner 2. So yeah, I would enjoy playing these games on my modded arcade game. And it's just another rail shooter game like T2. Look at the graphics, kind of like 3D moving forward quickly. Kind of like Revolution X T2 style graphics on here. So not bad for an add-in game. I would say ranking of the games on the cabinet, in my opinion. Point Blank would be my favorite, then Time Crisis. And then I'd probably do Steel Gunner 2, and then Steel Gunner 1 would be my last ranking on this game. So here's Steel Gunner 2 gameplay just for a little bit more, and then we'll test out Point Blank. All right, now this is Point Blank. This is actually one of my favorite all-time shooting games. If you couldn't tell, I was inspired to make my own Point Blank cabinet. But this game is super fun, and it does require a fast trigger finger on here as well. So when you're playing it, definitely consider doing the mod or turning off the recoil, because as you get into later stages when you need to press it quickly, you do need to be able to fast fire as quickly as possible. Accuracy in this game is key to be able to shoot your targets in different locations. I feel like I'm a pretty decent shot in this game. So I got 30 octopuses out of 25. So this is one of my favorite games of all time. I just love all the little mini games. And again, if you're trying to play for accuracy and performance, I would consider turning off the recoil. So let's play a stage without recoil. We're gonna 75 targets here and shooting the bad guys. So pew pew pew. This game also does not have a cursor, just like original Time Crisis 1. So from here, you just gotta rely on your lights gun accuracy to see how well you can do. Again, the Sinden tech is, from my opinion, pretty accurate. It's very much so like Gunfire R. The difference is just that little border. So here we go, 35 targets. Not bad, right? Not bad. Okay, get through a couple more stages here. Here we are shooting the 18 targets here. And again, I have the recoil off right now because I need to be pretty darn accurate and pretty darn quick. So if I'm playing this without the recoil, I feel like it can get pretty quickly through my trigger. All right, oh, it's going quicker. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Did I get it? Did I get it? 27 targets. All right, nice. All right, so here's the last one. It's a meteor. Shoot every meteorite before they reach Earth. Okay, I am protector of the Earth. I'm shooting meteorites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom, boom, boom. And light gun games are about feel, honestly. If you ever played an original light gun game on a CRT, you never had a cursor on the screen. You just kind of had to get your bearings right, and then it's all about checking how. Oh no! Oh no! Earth exploded! I shot the bomb! Dang it! All right, I lost the life. Ugh. It really is about feel. So I still think you can be pretty accurate in this, without playing it. So let's turn the recoil on. And again, doing something like this where you have to protect people and shoot a ton of targets. I think it's really difficult to play it with the recoil in its current state. So I highly recommend for performance, if you're looking for accuracy, maybe turning off the recoil or doing that really quick mod where I reduce the length of travel it takes to initiate the recoil. and then I can do some player 2 gameplay in just a little bit, and you can see the difference for that. Okay, so let's do that. So with this player 2 gun, I did reduce the travel in order to initiate the recoil. So let me do a challenge. I can challenge now, and I'm just gonna play on the player 2 side so you can see the difference now. So now I'm able to easier, I feel like, press the trigger button and still have some recoil feature. So it is a little bit of a trade-off for not having it as loud, but I do think there is absolutely a performance benefit to doing that mod. All right, 25 targets or more, nicely done. So I'm playing 22 side. Let's see if I can keep it going. All right, let's do it. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, clear. Whew, that was tough. These are fun little mini games. All right, this one's very hard. We need to shoot the bad guys. 35 targets, holy crap, in 25 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I missed. I think I'm dead already. Nope, oh, I said a bad guy. I'm out, I'm dead. I'm dead, I'm dead. Oh my goodness, this game is freaking hard. Okay, nope, 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 nope. Oh my goodness, I barely got it. Oh, so hard. Holy crap. 26 targets, man, that's a tough game. All right, bonus stage, let's see if I can get a life back here. Shoot that one. Bonus, give me a light, give me a heart. Oh, I got nothing. Okay, let's do, ooh, the leaf stage. You gotta shoot one leaf, you got one bullet to do it. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, boom. Ooh. Oh, my accuracy was terrible. Dang it, I blame the gun calibration. No, that's probably user error right there. All right, let's keep it up. I think I need to recalibrate this gun. I think that my calibration might be off. Let's see. Oh my goodness, yeah, my calibration is way off right now. What happened there? I got closer to the gun. I think I need to be further back. I think I was too close, and I think that's a ruin my accuracy. I need to be at least this far back. So you do want to stay at least a few feet back, because the camera cannot pick up the border if it's super close. So you don't want to be shooting like this towards the screen. You want to be a little bit further back. This is about 2-3 feet away. I probably could step back even a little bit further, but yeah, I would say definitely at least 2 to 3 feet away so that the camera can pick up the full sensor there. Okay, so let's shoot all the things. Pew, pew, pew. It's not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Boom, boom. Here they come from the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's coming out fast now. It's now coming out fast. Okay. Whew. All right. 33 targets. Oh, this is very hard. I need to shoot 10 of my blue targets in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I got 8. Holy crap, that was fast. This game be frustrating. Okay, let's shoot blue targets. Shoot blue. Boom, boom. Blue, 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 blue. Shooting blue duckies. Blue, 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 blue. 21 birds. All right, let's just finish out a few more stages and then we'll go through final thoughts. This is a stage where you need to press it as fast as you can. Oh, I should have just turned off the recoil for this one. Even with the recoil mod, it's not good. I should have just turned it off. That one you just need to turn it off with this. Shoot as fast as you can. Too much tension to that game. So some games you just absolutely cannot have recoil on for sure. Okay, I didn't do that one. This is very hard. Shoot 20. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Man, it goes by so quick. I don't remember these stages being that hard. I thought I did beginner too. I thought I did easy. Holy crap. Oh, shoot. Ugh. Ah! Keep shooting the bombs. Even though I passed, I'm dead. I lost 2 lives. I beat it, but I lost 2 lives. Oh my goodness. Okay. And this stage is shooting a UFO, I believe. Yeah, one shot to shoot the UFO. Oh my god, I missed! Ugh. All right, I think that's just me. I think I'm a better shot than that, but okay. Okay, all right, I think we did everything. The final stage of Point Blank is the fireworks stage. So when you're playing here, you're just shooting as many fireworks as you can in 5 seconds. No, I didn't miss. Missed 5 targets. Okay, so that's Point Blank for you. Again, this cabinet is pretty dang fun in my opinion, especially with the point blank cabinet. So let's just go over quick final thoughts and we'll end the video. Here's a little fun fact. The Terminator 2 guns actually do work with the Time Crisis cabinet. They use the same connection point here. So if you plug this in, it actually does work just like the Time Crisis guns. Unfortunately, the recoil feature inside of this game does not work. Imagine though, if somehow Arcade1Up could get the software of these games for Steel Gunner 1 and 2 to work with the recoil function in T2, it would give you some extra options to keep your T2 guns and use it with a different game because it has the solenoids inside. I don't think it's easy to implement and do because this solenoid is actually activated. It's not even a real solenoid, it's like this little spinning plastic piece that does get activated through the software from T2. But it would be so cool to play this game using a T2 gun that actually had recoil, and it'd be like the side button works for missiles as well. So Steel Gunner 1 and 2 were rail shooter games just like T2 was, and if we could use these Uzis for that game, that would be fun. So this is just a little fun fact that you can use the T2 guns. I'm not sure if Buck Hunter would work the same. I don't have my Buck Hunter guns anymore, but I would venture to say maybe it would, and the cockback feature would be your missile to use there. So just something else you can get extra value out of your T2 guns if you wanted to. Okay, so final thoughts about the Arcade1Up Time Crisis cabinet. Is it worth $749? At this time, I don't think it's worth it at that particular price point. I think it's about $50 too much. I was expecting this to be about a $699 cabinet in line with their T2 release that came out as well. That only had one game on it. I know there's some additional features on here like the sliding recoil and the battle design. So they have put a little bit of extra time into this. It's the largest Arcade1Up cabinet with the new Marquee design, but did it justify the price to be that $749 price point? In my opinion, no. I don't think it's worth it at that retail price, but that's just my particular opinion. If you really love Time Crisis, and again, what are these cabinets for? Who are they designed for? They're for people who love seeing original or like close to arcade replica cabinets in their collection, and this is one of the most beautiful Arcade1Up cabinets that I believe they've put out to date, in my opinion. It looks fantastic, the height, the build. So from a look standpoint, it's very impressive to have in your collection. Can you swallow the price point, or can you wait for a sale? I would definitely recommend waiting for it to come down in price a little bit if it does. This cabinet is nice to have if you don't have a lights gun cabinet build yourself. If you really are just a fan of Time Crisis and want to play the game, there are other options out there. You can buy a Sinden light gun for about $150 to be able to play it. I believe there's a retro shooter option that you could have as well. There's Gun for IR, the high-end quality system that you can mod any type of gun into that I went for. But all those options will allow you to play the game however you want to, and Arcade1Up's version of it is the only one that gives you a decent version of the game in a home arcade format. A real version of the arcade is still hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more. It's hard to kind of put in your house. So there's all sorts of reasons why Arcade1Up's version is good for folks that just enjoy having a home arcade. So I wanted to be able to put that out there and let people decide for themselves what they want to do and decide to purchase this cabinet. I really highly recommend doing that little gun mod to make it a little bit easier to pull the trigger, because that is one of the biggest things that I have an issue with, is the longevity of that manual recoil. The coin door is a little bit too low in my opinion, and then the camera tracking, which I thought was an issue at first, but it turns out my Gun for R also has some of that same tracking issues on T2 and Steel Gunner. So can't say that's at the fault of Sinden and the hardware, because if my big machine does that same thing, then I don't think it's an issue with this particular cabinet. So again, biggest faults on here: the gun recoil feature kind of getting tiring after a little while, and then the coin door too low. Those are like my two big things that I have big issues with. And the last big one obviously is the price point. So if it does come down, I would have loved to have seen this at $699 or lower. If it can get even lower than that, more fantastic, but it's up to you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up on your way out. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.